Hi, I'm Erik Voss, and Aquaman released an extended look that's really so much more than just a trailer. It's really like a 5-minute Chilean sea bass serving the footage. Really, it's just a clip that was actually shown to Comic-Con fans last summer. So for me, being left at work alone that weekend is actually paying off. Let's dive in and run through all the new Easter eggs and visual details that you might have missed in this footage. And spoiler warning in case I end up revealing too much. Okay, the first interesting detail comes right away with this opening shot of a snow globe containing the Amnesty Main lighthouse that Thomas Curry lives in, but look underneath that snow globe. This book is the Dunwich Horror by HP Lovecraft. Lovecraft is known for his cosmic horror imagery, depictions of unfathomable terror looming over us just beyond the abyss. James Wan has mentioned Lovecraft as a major influence on his visual style, and some of the visuals that we've seen in this Aquaman footage is certainly Lovecraftian in nature. Now, the Dunwich Horror as a book doesn't so much deal with the oceanic abyss, but it does center around two brothers, who are part of two worlds, not too different from these half-brothers, Arthur and Orm, one of whom belongs to two worlds. And moving on past Thomas and Atlanta, Nicole Kidman spooning, we see a more complete cut of Arthur lifting a submarine to the surface and boarding it. Now, I'm assuming this is a sub of Black Manta's father, whom I don't think will survive this battle, and maybe that is what turns Black Manta against Aquaman. Then, after some cool-looking aerial shots of the Warner Brothers and DC logos submerged in shallow waters, we move on to this extended scene of Arthur and Mera exploring the Sahara Desert in search of these Atlantean ruins. Yes, it is a little odd that this ancient kingdom known for its water connection is located in this modern-day African arid desert, but I think that's the idea, right? In ancient times, before the plates of the Earth's crust shifted, the Sahara was actually more lush and green, and the body of water that is now the Mediterranean Sea covered a lot more land. So this Atlantis capital could have been left in what is now the Sahara Desert, millions of years after the seas scaled back and dried out the land. And by the way, that would make the Atlanteans truly ancient. Like, they would have had to have existed millions of years before Homo sapiens even began to evolve, or depending on your views, were placed here. Look, just don't ask me how Thomas Curry was able to mate with one of these freaky prehistoric water humans. Anyway, Mera and Arthur explore these badass ruins, plugging in this ancient Amazon echo to hear a Princess Leia style holo recording from King Atlan, played by actor Graham McTavish. Now, Mera has the powers of hydrokinesis, which she uses to absorb water from Arthur's sweat and splash it onto the device to activate it. The production design here definitely appears to be influenced by the movie The Fifth Element, which features similar ancient stone Amazon echoes, one of which needs actual water to activate, so they use drops of sweat. In this case, Arthur suggests a different source of water.
I could have just peed on it.
Good for you, Aquaman. Keeping up with the pee jokes of the DCEU after Lex Luthor suggested serving a jar of piss to a US senator. During Atlan's away message, we hear this interesting 80s synth score that reminds me a lot of the Stranger Things theme. And there's some new dazzling shots of Atlantis underwater with their giant sea turtle convoys, and a quick shot of Atlan's trident being forged from molten gold. The imagery here reminds me a lot of the forge scene in Game of Thrones. Remember when Tywin Lannister melted down Ned Stark's sword ice to form the two Valyrian steel swords Widow's Wail and Oathkeeper? And the way that Game of Thrones is a royal drama about a bastard revealed as a true heir to an ancient throne, it looks like Aquaman will follow in those steps. We also see the ancient Atlantis in its heyday, and it's pretty legit. Now, there's a ton of details that I want to get into, but first, thanks to our sponsor Vincero Watches. Now look, I wasn't always a guy who cared about what was on my wrist, unless it was a Comic-Con wristband. Just kidding, I had to work. But since you folks gotta look at me, it doesn't hurt to class it up sometimes. And you would be amazed how much this watch from Vincero just completes your look and really elevates your game. It's just so classy and well crafted with nice finishing, attention to detail, and guys, it's still super affordable. Plus, it's not that minimalist cookie cutter design that some other dopes wear. With this, you just stand out, you get noticed. And no one's gonna bully you on that field trip to the aquarium when you got a bold, icy-faced blue-back Kairos with crocodile finish on that black leather band. Vincero apparently just received their 12,000th 5-star review on their site. A lot of people are liking their luxurious style. Check out their site for yourself for their variety of designs and colors. It's a good fit for anyone who wants to look their best. And we're doing a special offer just for you guys. Click on the link below and use the discount code Rockstars for 15% off your entire order. Okay, back to this Aquaman footage of the ancient Atlantis city. I just love the way the production design takes inspiration from classic Greek and Roman architecture. You can see aqueducts and a forum-esque thoroughfare. You can even see a Colosseum in the corner there. But then this shockwave blast implies that the original trident may have fallen into the wrong hands as a kind of weapon of mass destruction. leading to the original kingdom collapsing and breaking into the 7 kingdoms. There's also an interesting shot of Atlan looking over his people. Notice his clothes. There's orange armor with green trim and green gauntlets. Clearly, Aquaman's modern suit is derived from his ancestor. Also, in the background of the opposite end of the thoroughfare, you can see a structure forming the exact shape of the Aquaman A sigil. When the recording ends, Mera smashes it, Mission Impossible style. No one else can know what their exact mission is. Then we see more of the meeting between the 2 kingdoms, the Atlanteans with their white armor riding the great white sharks, led by Orm on that sea crocodile, as well as the kingdom of Zebel riding the sea dragons. They're led by King Nereus, played by Dolph Lundgren. He's Mera's father. And notice what Orm says here.
The beast has awakened.
Oh, so I'm wondering if that beast refers to that giant crustacean crab thing that the Brine kingdom has, which we see later in that battle, or maybe some even worse Lovecraftian horrible sea beast that we haven't seen yet. And in addition to that alliance, we see Orm's other partner, Black Manta. 5 super soldiers emerge from this luminous surface. Presumably, Orm gives this Atlantean weaponry to Black Manta to go after Arthur, since Orm can't go on the land. And then we get to the best part of this footage, an extended look at Black Manta's attack. Now, some have said that if you listen closely to the sounds Black Manta makes as he lands, you can almost hear a robotic filtered voice that kind of sounds like Arthur. I don't know about that. Really, what's most impressive to me is Wan's camera work. Notice how he features a single unbroken shot following the foot chase through the buildings and rooftops of this seaside town. Wan directed a lot of horror films, but he also directed the movie Furious 7, which is a franchise known for similar chase sequences and unbroken takes. This also reminds me of rooftop foot chases in the Jason Bourne series, as well as more recent Bond movies. And moving on in this footage, we see more shots of Orm and Arthur in gladiator combat. Arthur fights off Black Manta's guys underwater, as well as some Atlantean soldiers in that sunken ship. But then, some badass shots of Atlanta fighting off some Atlanteans, trashing that lighthouse. So what's going on here? My guess is Atlanta tried to escape Atlantis. Like, she wasn't happy with her life there, so she wanted to start a new life with Thomas on land. But the Atlanteans found out about it, and they consider that child to be a half-breed abomination. So after she's able to fend them off, she leaves them behind in order to protect them. And then she returns to Atlantis to give a new heir just to satisfy them. But still, Arthur is technically the firstborn. We also get a shot of the monstrous trench people. Yikes! Now, they have no eyes because they live in the Trench Kingdom. It has no sunlight. It's too deep. It actually hurts Atlanteans to try to go down there. And during the millennia that these kingdoms have been apart, the Trench people have evolved. Their physiology has changed so that they don't need eyes. We also get a shot of what looks like the Atlantis throne room. With Arthur in the lower right there, if you look closely, you can see he's held down in restraints by Atlantean soldiers. Also, looking at the other side of this shot, that looks like Mera up there on the throne. So I can't tell for sure if that's Orm or Nereus it's floating down to him. It looks more like Orm. So perhaps Arthur is on trial here, and this trial is what leads to a trial by combat, which is why we see Arthur and Orm fighting in that arena. And then after some more fights of this epic undersea battle between the Atlanteans and the Brine, we get to the epic closer shot with Aquaman finally in his classic colors holding Atlan's trident. And again, this look is definitely derived from Atlan's ancient garb. And kudos to James Wan for staging this shot with Arthur simultaneously on land and water, representing the way his character is of 2 worlds. Now, here's my question for you guys. If Aquaman goes well, hopefully, and is a huge success for Warner Brothers and DC, and I think it definitely can be, you know? This footage has reassured some of the concerns I've had previously. If all this goes well, do you guys think the studio should continue to go in this direction with more world-buildy superheroes like Aquaman, but also like Wonder Woman and Shazam leading the franchise? Or would you be concerned that a successful Aquaman would still just be a hit in a brand that is otherwise a little rudderless and might get overshadowed by other bold new tonal choices like the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, or this Birds of Prey movie, or this new announced Suicide Squad sequel written and perhaps directed by James Gunn? I guess my question is, would you want Aquaman to carry the DC brand if all goes well? Or do you see it as a potentially good standalone movie that should just exist in its own bubble?
Underwater bubble.
I really had a lot of thoughts here, and perhaps I'm putting the cart before the horse, so I'm curious to hear what you guys think about all this stuff, this Aquaman footage, and also what direction you see the DC Cinematic Universe going in general, and also this update about James Gunn joining the DC team. So comment down below with your thoughts and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at EA Voss. Subscribe to New Rockstars for these in-depth breakdowns of everything you care about. And I'm sorry I left the shark costume that I did in the last Aquaman video at home. I wanted to do it in this video, I just forgot. But I promise you'll see it the next time I talk about Aquaman. But you know, I kind of like this little fishy here. I'm told that he glows in the dark. You can't really see it here. Just, you know, new shirts are a good thing. Also watches, please buy these watches. Some things are worth spending money on. Come on, help this channel, please.